Well, welcome everybody to Life After High School. We're thrilled that you're joining us either live on Zoom or on Facebook, or you're watching the recording. Today, we're blessed to have Father Jude DeAngelo from Catholic University. And my name is Jenny Bales. I'm super excited to help out with Life After High School because just the devotion to Catholic homeschoolers and their families is close to my heart. My new ministry, Bloom Mentoring, is one of the exhibitors in the exhibit hall if you want to check us out. Just like Life After High School and the Catholic Homeschool Conference connects families and gives resources, we provide mentoring for Catholic homeschooling moms who need guidance on all these choices that we have to make, like, how to prepare our kids for college. So check us out, and I'm glad to be here with Father DeAngelo. Before I introduce him officially and get started, though, I suppose we should start in prayer.
Please.
Let's do that. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come together and to learn about a beautiful ministry of Catholic University and the opportunity that's presented to our families, to our young adults, for parents and young adults to help discern what is your will for their future. We just ask that you be with us during this time and pour out your blessings upon the families that will see this presentation and that are participating in this conference this weekend. We just ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. So Father Jude DeAngelo is a Conventual Franciscan Friar who professed his vows in 1977 and was ordained a priest in 1984. He taught for 6 years in a Catholic high school and was the Catholic campus minister at Wake Forest University for 12 years before transferring to the Catholic University of America in 2010, where he serves as university chaplain and director of campus ministry. So we are super blessed that you're here today, Father, to share with us about your faith at Catholic University and tell the young people and their parents what they can expect from that community, from that environment. And those of you watching, if you guys have questions while Father's doing his presentation, if you'll open the Q&A at the bottom of your screen and type those in, we'll save those till the end, and we'll make sure to cover all of your questions and have Father answer whatever's on your mind. So use the Q&A down there at the bottom of your screen to enter questions as he's talking so we can not forget them, okay? So thank you again for coming, Father, and I'll just turn it over to you.
Thank you. You're more than welcome to call me Father Jude, and I'm really so pleased to be with you today. What I thought I'd do is split up this talk a little bit with just a little introduction. What awaits young people as they transition from their high school experience into college, and then what they can expect in terms of the challenges that are there, and also the blessings. I want to talk to parents a little bit as well regarding things that they might, what I see in parents, and some of the ideas that I would recommend to parents who are sending their young people off to college. Couple of things, and then in addition to that, I'm going to share with you what we do here at Catholic through campus ministry. And the reason I'm doing that is not to sell you on Catholic University, although it's a great school, but more to just say these are some of the things I think you should be looking for as you begin to search out your college experience or your children's college experience. So, you can study a lot about faith development. What I have found over the course of time, now almost 23 years of college campus ministry, I think the great challenge for our students of faith who are coming from the homeschool experience or a Catholic high school experience is that now, even though they're in a Catholic institution, now they're on their own. And so they begin, hopefully, to develop that personal prayer life in a college experience and that relationship with Christ as they are launched into their college experience. And so what you find is that for the first couple of weeks, students are, for the most part, they haven't found their foundation yet. They haven't found that solid ground. They begin to wonder about, what does faith mean now in their life? Because they're missing home for the most part, because they're living with people they don't know. They may be living with people who are not necessarily in love with the Catholic faith. And so, it becomes a challenge to them. They may hear differing opinions about the many social issues of our time. And so, this may throw them off a little bit. And so these are some of the challenges I think they meet. Another thing I think is for those that have really developed their prayer life, they get very concerned because with their new schedule now in college, they don't seem to be able to do the same spiritual exercises that they did at home. And so now they are wondering whether or not that they should change. They get very concerned about not being able to pray like they did when they were home, whether they were at homeschool or whether they were at a Catholic high school or very involved with their parish youth group. And so part of this is just to remind them that, as Jesus says, the wise man knows how to go into his store to take out the new and the treasures of the old as they go through life. And so there may be certain things that were foundational that they find still connect them to Christ and connect them to their faith that they can do and feel good about doing, like maybe daily mass or the rosary. Maybe they have special websites, Catholic websites. A lot of our students, follow Bishop Barron, or they follow Father Schmidt on a daily basis. So maybe those will still be a part of their prayer life, but maybe they find that if they prayed at night, at the end of a day of going to classes and then whatever social life they might have, friends, eating together at dinner or whatever, and then a whole night of study. And our students many times are up until midnight, 1 o'clock, and then they go to bed and they think, oh, I didn't pray for this one and that one. And what I try to do is get them to rethink their schedule of prayer. What is going to fit into this new lifestyle? And once they can grasp that Christ is more concerned that they rely on him and they meet him in their prayer, and less on the schedule of events that they built up in high school for prayer, then they can be free enough to say, okay, let me look at my schedule and let me rethink when my prayer times are gonna be. So I think that that's an important challenge, and it's a hurdle that our students have. I think another thing, as I touched on before, they're going to hear, no matter where they go to college, Catholic institution of higher learning, or public, or a private, but not necessarily a Catholic institution, they're going to hear different opinions, and on the faith, on the church. And so they need to realize, okay, this isn't what I thought the church taught on this particular subject. And they may have to do a little research, or they might have to speak to a priest about whatever happens to be the conversation going on into the late night among our students, getting to know each other and getting to understand what people think about the church and what she teaches, and all of those things. And what I always say to students is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to listen. Don't be afraid to understand that people are in different places in their spiritual life and in their life of faith. And some of the biggest voices in the room speaking about these different subjects may not be exactly what the church teaches, and that shouldn't scare them, and nor should it shake their faith. They need to understand that they're making their faith their own, that they've been raised in Catholic families, and they know right from wrong, and they know a lot of the teachings of the church. And so they will have the opportunity to share the truth of the faith, but they should just not be afraid when they hear differing opinions and not necessarily Catholic Church teaching from their friends or their new acquaintances in college. So I think that's that phrase from John Paul, "Do not be afraid," is certainly something that has always resonated with me as I have heard our young people talk. And parents, I would say to you that you've done your job in raising your children in the practice of the faith, and you need to trust that they have absorbed that example from you, and now they're trying to find their own way in that relationship with Christ. And that's what I found for the majority of our students. I'd just like to talk about the flavor of different Catholic institutions. There's a wide range, a wide variety of Catholic education experiences in higher ed, right? So, your students may be drawn to a place like Christendom College or Benedictine College or Franciscan University. And the experience is more homogeneous in the sense that when you go to those institutions, you're going to get a great education. And some of them are like Christendom, I think, really relies more on the great books and the great questions. Those are great institutions, but what they're going to find is that many of the students are reinforce one another's experience of faith, and so places like Belmont Abbey, where my brother actually works, they're smaller, they're more intimate, and they are thoroughly Catholic, and they're going to get a great education. But students choose those places because that's the experience they want in their college, that place where they feel as if the transition from home into higher ed is pretty even, pretty steady. Whereas a place like Catholic University, part of what we see as our vision, our mission, is that we teach and believe all that the Catholic Church teaches because it's been revealed to her by Christ. But students who, let's say, are weak in their faith, or maybe, their families are maybe Catholic in name only, maybe their experience is in their family is, Mass just on the holy days, or Christmas and Easter and all those things. We have those students, And we have students who are what I call uber Catholics. I mean, they can quote the catechism, they know their Bible, they are very educated in the teachings of the church. And then we have the vast majority of our students right in the middle between those two smaller groups. I would not say extremes, I would say smaller groups. And so what they'll get at a place like the Catholic University of America is straight down the middle, as far as we teach what the church teaches. And our desire, as Pope Francis really has pushed us to, is to accept our students where they are in their faith journey. Now, some of them don't even know they're on a faith journey, I got to be honest. But in a place like Catholic University, they will have that sense that their student leaders in the upper classes promote faith, promote that faith experience. Going to Mass is certainly not a foreign thing. Participation at Mass on Sundays and weekdays is part of the experience of a place like Catholic University of America. They will find that there are many ways to connect to Christ and his church in places like the classrooms, the theology classrooms, and also in their social life. And in our institution, I've got to say that evangelization of our students is not restricted to campus ministry. There is great respect throughout campus for the mission of promoting the faith, so that when our students graduate, regardless of whether they're Catholic or not, that they have that Catholic mindset as they go out into society, that they have an ethical system that they can go back to make good decisions about their life. So what I'm going to do, if I can do it, as I'm going to share the screen, and I'm just going to go through now what I think are some of the elements that you can look for, that I would look for as you go online and look at different Catholic institutions. What should you see when you see campus ministry or you know, the office of the chaplain? So this is our experience, what I'm going to show you, and I'll talk you through it. But there will be similar, there should be similar experiences in every Catholic college that that is proud of being Catholic. So let me see if I can do it. Okay, I hope I can do it. Can you see now? Can people see?
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
you can?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just using these as a guide, this slideshow. But in a Catholic institution, you should be able to see expressions of faith. Now here, this is in our particular institution, this is our annual outside Stations of the Cross that we do during Holy Week. And so our students are, you know, full participants and leaders of this prayer. Let me see if I can do this correctly. You should find a warm welcome in campus ministry, a place where people don't feel as if they need to, you know, have a pedigree for the faith, that they can be themselves, that they can come with their questions, that they can come with their experiences and really speak to others, whether that's you know, other students involved in campus ministry or not. There should be There should be a profound experience of the holy sacrifice of the Mass, and it should be readily available for students to engage in. And there should also be, oh, I don't want this. How do I stop this thing? Oh, there we go. There should be opportunities for different Catholic speakers to come in to talk about topics. So, you know, we at this university, we have a thing called CUA on Tap, where we bring in different speakers from outside the university to talk on subjects that are relevant to this moment in time and what the church teaches. So, you know, in this past year, we've had Catholic men and women come and talk about race, talk about chastity, talk about immigration. What does the church teach? Not what the Democrats, not what the Republicans teach, but what does the church teach when it comes to these subjects, which I think is important. Here in Washington, D.C., of course, it's a very political city, as you can imagine. And our emphasis is that's great. You need to be a good citizen, but ultimately you need to be a good Christian and a good Catholic. And so we want our students to be able to hear, what does the Catholic Church teach on this point? I'm just going to go through these slides quickly. This is our staff. And I think if you want a well-rounded ministry that you can rely on, it should be representative of all the vocations in the church, whether it's religious, married men and women, religious sisters, our single men and women, and again, these are the people that work in our office. And so I just encourage you to, you know, to check out who are the people that that I'm going to engage with. Who are the quote unquote professionals? We call them the pastoral staff here, as opposed to, you know, professional staff. So these are different people in our office. As I said to you before, worship, liturgy and worship, so very, very important. Are the students who come to a particular university, are they trained to do liturgical ministry? And I really mean that, trained. Trained to know things like, okay, how do I prepare to be the lector at Mass? How do I spiritually prepare to be the communion, the extraordinary communion minister? What does it mean in a Catholic context to be the usher? All of these are, or the server. Why is knowing those positions of ministry important, and also to be grounded in faith? Why would that be important to be an usher? Things like that. Sacred spaces on campus, I think, are, you know, vital. And here we're not only talking about our chapels, but you know, is there outside spaces that have been put aside by the university where students can go and pray? I think you should see that having a good time is not foreign to our Catholic Church. You should see in whatever community you end up in, is to see that there are faith-based student groups, Knights of Columbus, Catholic Daughters, maybe there's homegrown Catholic groups. In our case, we call it Cardinals for Life, but, you know, Right to Life groups. Are there the opportunity for retreats throughout the year? Is there Bible study that we call them renew groups? But also, is there fun opportunities like every Friday night on our campus, our student ministers run what we call Friday nights with the house, So those are social events, and it's just to get our students to form community. So it's not that they are going to be handed a Bible every Friday night or the Catechism of the Catholic Church. No, they're going to go to movies together, or they're going to have a house party, all without alcohol or whatever, that everybody is welcome, and everybody gets to know one another, because it's in that community that their faith, their friendships are formed, and then their faith is reinforced. Here are some of the other things that I think you should look for. Is there opportunities for spiritual guidance? Are there opportunities for students to complete their sacraments of initiation? Do they have prayer groups? Is there vocational discernment groups on their campus? Here's one that is primary to us, our Marian Ministry, Theotokos. What we try to do is develop leadership, because we firmly believe that the majority of our students are going to be lay leaders, not only in their communities or in their families, but also we want them to be leaders of the faith in their parishes and in every aspect of their lives. So we do a lot of training with our students to help them to grow as Catholic leaders in their life. Another important thing, and I found this is so important, that the works of justice are extremely important for our students, and volunteering, engaging with other men and women, not in some kind of largesse, but out of that sense of this is what Christ calls us to do. And so wherever our students go to serve around Washington, D.C., they do so with a sense of relationship building. There should be weekly opportunities, maybe special immersion trips that come along. We promote long-term service after high school. After college, there are tons of different Catholic programs that we encourage our students to consider. Here are some of the things that we do on our campus. These are probably without that idea of COVID, right? So we do 3 homeless food runs. Our students get to be friends with our people on the street. I've gone and our pastoral staff goes along with many of our students many times to visit with our friends on the street. Bethlehem House is our friends with disabilities. This young woman here also works in our office once a week. We build strong relationships with people in our Catholic Church. Brookland Outreach, that's the area where we are, and this is how we relate to our neighborhood. See if your institution has engagement with the community around them. Here's important things that I think I would encourage every student to do. Spring break and summer trips that are faith-based. I really do think those immersion trips have changed our students' outlook about who they should be in relationship to Christ and to the people in the world. Don't judge the success by the picture there. And now we get to questions. So I hope that I've helped you. Let me see if I can stop sharing. There we go. I hope I've helped you consider what you should look for when you're thinking of the Catholic institutions around you. There's a wide variety. There's also one other thing before I start taking questions. There are many Catholic institutions that were founded by religious orders. And so see whether or not the religious order has left its imprint on the university. Whether it's a Franciscan university or a Jesuit university or Benedictine, see how that spirituality influences the life and shapes the character of the institution. I think that's important as well. Okay, so
Excellent.
yeah. So Jenny, if you have questions, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, to our participants or our attendees, if you have questions, you can drop them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. Just click on, sometimes you have to click on more, but enter those there. A couple questions coming off. How many majors does Catholic U have, and what variety are there?
I can't tell you the number. There's a significant number of majors. I can tell you our schools that provide for those majors. We have three schools that are direct ties to the Vatican and make our school the Catholic University of America in the United States. And those three schools are philosophy, theology, and canon law. And then we have the largest school is our School of Arts and Sciences. And you can get degrees in physics, in any of the sciences, in English. We have a significant education program, training our young people to be teachers. Our nursing school is one of the best and one of the most recognized institutions or schools in the United States. Catholic Social Service, National Catholic Social Service School is part of our campus, and a respected school. Business is our newest school, and it's very much based on the Catholic social teaching and an approach to doing business in an ethical way. And I could go on, but I think I've kind of given you a broad stroke.
That's excellent. Yes, so helpful. Good. Lots of options there. So kind of thinking on just a student who's watching this and wondering, I don't know what to do next. I don't know, what would you tell a student who's out there and they don't know what they should do next?
Well, in COVID, so I'm going to, kind of start with that. Go online, take time, go online, look at different Catholic institutions, and see the feel that you get. The reason I went through our admission thing slideshow was just to say, these are the things I think you should be looking for at a Catholic institution. Is the Catholic faith, expressed in deed? I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, will I find support as a Catholic person if I go to this school? Do I see evidence of large gatherings of people in the slides that each institution has for Mass, for adoration, all of those things? See if there's opportunities for those things. And also for service as part of the mission of the university. So those are the things I think you could look for. Many times you can get in touch with. I've answered students who are just looking. They'll email me out of the blue from the high schools, and they'll just say, what can you tell me about Catholic University, and how are practicing Catholics welcomed or not welcomed? So you can just initiate those conversations with the different chaplains or campus ministers that you come across, and I think that's another way. But of course, the best way there will be virtual visits now at all these institutions, right? That's going to be key. I would sign up for those. If and when not if, but when the COVID sanctions all are no longer needed, definitely visiting each of the institutions is important. We do have on-campus visits even now. With the numbers are significantly smaller, I'll tell you that. But we still have parents who come with their high schoolers to check out in person the institutions that their students are interested in.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great guidance. Okay. Let's see. I think there's one more question over here. If anybody else has questions, be sure to pop those in. What about Catholic University of America is unique among all the other Catholic colleges out there? I think you've spoken to a few of those things, but
we're the best. I mean, what can I tell you?
Of course.
Yeah. No, I think what strikes so many of our visitors is the depth of community that we have here, and that community is very proud of being Catholic. We don't hide that. We don't, apologize for it. But we are also extremely charitable people, and I really, really mean that. We have students who are struggling with their sexual identity. We have students who have learning disabilities, right, or are struggling with different handicaps. I'm sure that's not the right PC word to use, but you get my point. I think that's what I see. I see a great deal of care from our staff, not just in campus ministry, in the dean's office, in the counseling center, in our career services, and all the different ways we reach out to students to help them to succeed. In athletics, we have a nice relationship with our coaches, supporting students in their faith. So these are the things that I really think make for a unique experience at Catholic University. Now, I've said all of that, and I'm sure you can also get students who say, I didn't get any of that when I was there, so, but I would say that this, more than anything, is characteristic of our university.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, it's great to hear so much depth and so much focus on relationship. I love that with communities. Let's see, another direction for, I don't know how much you know, but what kind of assistance and help is there for students leaving college at Catholic University and kind of discerning next steps on where they're headed? I'm sure you talk to students about those big decisions too.
We do, and a number of us across campus do that. There's, again, a ton of support from our career services and our education people, deans, constantly talking to students in their different schools about next steps in their field, architecture or engineering or whatever school, nursing. What are the next steps? As a matter of fact, a lot of our graduates in the nursing program are hired. The percentage is really, really high of those who go after our students who graduate from nursing. So you get a lot of that. You also, from our standpoint of their Catholic faith, I remind them that they are spoiled, right, about their Catholic faith here on campus. Our last Mass and daily Mass is at 10 o'clock at night. You're not going to find that at your local parish. You're not necessarily going to have access to a church in your neighborhood. Now, maybe you will if they have, adoration 24 hours a day. But so many of our places do not, are Catholic parishes. So I remind them that they have to take these experiences and they have to go to the register in their local parish and build up the body of Christ there. Sometimes moving to different cities, they'll come and they'll say, Father, you know, where can you make a recommendation? If I can't, personally, I go to our alumni, say, you know, what's been your experience? Is there a place where young people, young professionals are welcomed and then students can get involved, graduates can get involved in their local parish? Is it a good mass experience? Are the homilies good there? I do that kind of research for our students as well. We're also very connected to the Archdiocese of Washington. And so their director of ministry to young adults is a graduate of Catholic University. And so he usually comes and his assistant, they come over and when we have senior retreat, and they talk to our students about being Catholic after Catholic. So, you know, I think there's those opportunities.
That's wonderful. So much support. Sounds great. See if we have any other questions. Anybody want to ask Father a question about Catholic University of America? Let's see, we do. Let's get into some specifics here. Questions about dual enrollment credits and transfer credits and all those kinds of things. Do you have knowledge about those options?
About that big. Okay. So I would really say our admissions area, our registrar, it's all in the admissions process. Okay. They can definitely answer those questions. And again, I would reach out to them. Do not be afraid. Reach out to anybody in admissions, even if it's just a general email account. Someone will get back to you with answers. So, you know, don't put that off and don't be embarrassed. I know lots of times young people are embarrassed. No, it's your education. You or your family are going to be putting a ton of money behind that education. And so you need to know those answers. And so I would do that. I do know that, you know, students definitely come into the university with their credits from high school for advanced studies, from their local community colleges. Many times our homeschool admissions are young people who in their senior year of high school have gone to their community college and gotten college credit. Will that transfer? Again, before you do that, you know, and if you're thinking, I might want to go to Catholic, call them and say, hey, I want to go, you know, in January to the community college to do an advanced math class in statistics, which, by the way, if you take statistics in college, you don't have to do any Lenten penance at all. So I'm joking, of course, but, you know, get in contact with us and ask, will that be able to be transferred? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and I know that Catholic University has a page in the exhibitor hall with the website and contact information for admissions. And so those are great questions to send that way. Another question is Catholic University of America founded by an order or a diocese, and who runs it?
Excellent question. We are the Bishop's University. So Pope Leo XIII gave us our charter, and the bishops of the United States in the early mid 1800s realized that there was a need for a Catholic national school, and so they approached the Holy Father at that time. Everything wasn't worked out, and until 1887, which is the year of our founding. So it's the Bishop's University. We answer to the bishops of the United States. We are a Catholic, obviously the National Catholic Institution. Our Board of Trustees is made up mostly of lay people, but then on top of that is a group of cardinals and bishops who have what we call reserved powers. So if it would never happen, but let's say we wanted to take the name Catholic out of out of who we are, right? Crazy, right? We couldn't do that, right? And maybe even if the Board of Trustees said, "Oh, we're going to do that," no, that group of cardinals and bishops and the second tier would say no. So you can't do that. So we have a lot of guarantees about our Catholic identity and things like that.
Okay.
So
Excellent. Okay, another question here. You mentioned the nursing being a big program there. Do you know if there's higher level master's, doctorate in nursing specifically?
yes, there are, and nurse practitioner as well. So yes, I believe I'm 99% sure to say that we offer a doctorate in nursing, but I also know that we definitely offer masters, and we definitely have nurse practitioner tracks as well.
Okay, very good. So many options. I'm sure that with such a large university, there's just lots of options. Heading back to the spiritual side of things, are there opportunities for missionary work abroad? Are there special holy hours and devotions that are offered? I know you touched on a few things, but what did we miss?
Yeah, so specifically, I think it's important that I always get a little concerned about this generation not understanding that special relationship with Christ, who has freely given himself in the tabernacle, that I think so many of our parishes and high schools put forth praise and worship adoration. We have that here on campus on Wednesday night. But what I find is that older tradition of knowing that I can go into a chapel on my own and just before the Blessed Sacrament and have that time of quiet prayer has somehow been lessened in these past, let's say, 30 years. So I'd really encourage students to do that when they come. But yes, we have praise and worship adoration on Wednesday night. We have solemn adoration on Thursday. This year, because of COVID, we don't have solemn adoration, but we have an hour of quiet, silent adoration on Thursdays with confessions. So yeah, we have those experiences. And there was another part to that.
Opportunities for missionary work abroad.
Right.
I know you spoke to DC and all the community service that you do.
So what we try to do here is not talk about mission work abroad. What we talk about is immersion relationships. So our students would go to Ecuador, and there's a big international Catholic group there. They take our students, they educate our students. What is the church doing in Ecuador? What does this community face? Probably our most developed of all of those programs is our border immersion trip. So Sister Ruth teaches a whole class on the issues around the border. And again, not concentrating on Democrat or Republican idea of immigration, but what does the church teach and what is she doing at the border and why is she doing it? So there's a class, our students go down, they talk to border agents, they talk to judges, they talk to, if they can, they get permission to go into the places that house immigrants, illegal immigrants. They get to do that. They talk to many clergy bishops. We have a good relationship with two of the bishops at the border. Our students talk to them. They go and they have mass in a field with one of the priests down there who ministers primarily to migrants. And every day he picks a different field, and at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and has the Holy Sacrifice, the Mass. And so our students participate at that time with him, and then they pick potatoes or whatever the crop is. So those are the kind of experiences we want for our students. And we do the same thing in Jamaica. We do the same thing in Dominican Republic. We partner with a Catholic organization, and we work side by side with the residents in those areas. So
that's beautiful. I mean, that kind of education in itself is, in ways more valuable than the classroom for life.
Yeah, it really is. I think, and as I said, what then happens is many of those students who have had those experiences after college, they want to do long-term service for a year. They don't, they might want to go on for law school or medical school or whatever, but in between those experiences, they want that experience of serving Christ and of building relationships that are international or national. Right now, one of our students is working in a Indian reservation here in the United States, in a Catholic institution, Catholic parish, but a reservation for Native Americans. So.
Okay, beautiful. Another question asks about the theology and philosophy classes or courses as a student. If those are your majors, are there core courses, or are there particular, I know some schools have paths or specialties?
Yes, I mean, what you'll find in philosophy, you'll study the whole history of philosophy, but from a scholastic point of view. So Thomas Aquinas is he's a minor Dominican saint, but his theology and his philosophy and theology, I joke, but that is the philosophy of the Catholic Church, and so that's primary in our philosophy. But I will say this, and you'll find this in many places, and I would look for it in any Catholic institution. Our students are required in their first year to take 2 theology courses, a philosophy course, and an English course. And they do that as a cohort of the same 18 people. Again, building community, but also being grounded in Catholic philosophy and theology. So look for those things. Do they make a requirement for theology, philosophy? Theology, it's Catholic theology. What can I tell you? We have a ton of seminarians, both on the undergraduate and graduate level. Trust me, if it was not Catholic theology, I don't think we would have many religious orders or the diocese sending their young people here to prepare them for a life of ordained service in the church, unless we were Catholic. That's what you'll find here.
That's great. No, those are key things to look for. I appreciate that you point that out, that as students are looking and discerning, to look into all these things.
Yes, and I would also say this, many times a young man will come and say to me, Father, I'm interested in being a priest one day. And I'll ask him, oh, what are you studying? And usually they say to me, oh, I'm studying theology. And I say, you'd probably do better studying philosophy. Get that groundedness in your, philosophy teaches you how to think. It gives you a Catholic viewpoint, and then you'll be ready to really dive in. And we have students who have taken philosophy and they have no interest in being a priest, but they want to serve the church. So then they go ahead and they get their master's in theology or in catechesis and these different things. So philosophy is a good foundation,
Yes.
I would say. And you can double major. You can definitely double major. So.
Excellent. Such good information. Well, I think that's the last question that's been submitted. If anyone has any more to drop in, we're running out of time, but we might be able to squeeze one more in. Is there anything, Father, that you would tell a lot of our guests or homeschoolers or parents of homeschoolers? Is there anything you would specifically tell a homeschooled student who's considering Catholic University?
Well, I think you'll find a home here. I mean, if I have to talk about my own institution, we have homeschoolers here. Do they find it a challenge? Yeah, they do. Depending on what kind of homeschooling they had. Was it with other, those little covenants that people in homeschool make for other homeschooler, so they have some sense of community. But you'll find that you'll fit in here. You may not have that same exact background of a student who has gone to a public school or a Catholic high school, but you will be welcomed and you will be challenged. And we're here to help you in any way we possibly can, and to support you in your journey of faith, but also in your education. There's one piece of advice I'd give to all of you. Say your prayers. Ask for God's guidance, that he is going to help you choose the best place where you can grow in your faith and get an excellent education. So I think that's critical to your discernment of where you're supposed to be. And also just check out, you can pay the tuition too, so
Right.
you have to be realistic. So.
That's true. Prayer and prudence, right?
Right.
We did have one last question jump in asking, do you have many students who here are called to religious life while attending Catholic U?
Yes, we do. We've had young women primarily. We've had young men become religious brothers. One right now is in his simple vows in a brother's community, a graduate. We have women who have gone on to religious life in many different shapes and different communities, more traditional communities, communities that wear habits, communities that don't wear habits, that are still interested in being Catholic and thoroughly Catholic. We have, all kinds of experiences of our young women doing those things. Many times they don't necessarily enter religious life right after college. Now some enter in college. We've had this year 2 of our freshmen from last year are now novices in a community. We've also had graduate women go into enclosed communities, cloisters. So yeah, you're going to find, again, we'll support you. We help our young people through discernment groups figure things out.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love the focus on finding what fits, right?
Correct.
Like you said, Catholic University can be a home for you, and then beyond that, finding your path.
Right.
Well, excellent. This has been wonderful, Father. Thank you so much for sharing all the good things about Catholic University, so much opportunity there, and just the ministry that you guys form the youth. That's so key. Thank you.
Okay. God bless. And thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you again for coming. So everybody can go to the exhibitor hall and read more about Catholic U, find their website, learn, contact them with the rest of your questions if we didn't answer them today. And then go to the Life After High School site and look at all the different options. So many recorded talks. There's more live sessions coming up. The next live session is in about 30 minutes, and it's going to be Life at Franciscan University with Nicole Marshall with Q&A as well. So just kind of keep exploring and keep seeking. And thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to all the coordinators of Life After High School for providing this resource for families.
And Franciscan is a great school. I'm sure you're going to love it and get a good view. So
Yes, another great opportunity. So thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks.